We are audiostack.ai.
Combining AI writing, the best synthetic voices,
with production and delivery.
Be it ads, podcasts, or VOs for video.
Just like this ad.
How would you utilize AI audio? For free.
Go to audiostack.ai/contest.
Give us just a few details.
And you could replace this spot and be heard by millions.
See webpage for T's and C's. audiostack.ai/contest.
We are audiostack.ai.
Combining AI writing, the best synthetic voices,
with production and delivery.
Be it ads, podcasts, or VOs for video.
Just like this ad.
How would you utilize AI audio? For free.
Go to audiostack.ai/contest.
Give us just a few details.
And you could replace this spot and be heard by millions.
See webpage for T's and C's. audiostack.ai/contest.
We are audiostack.ai.
Combining AI writing, the best synthetic voices,
with production and delivery.
Be it ads, podcasts, or VOs for video.
Just like this ad.
How would you utilize AI audio? For free.
Go to audiostack.ai/contest.
Give us just a few details.
And you could replace this spot and be heard by millions.
See webpage for T's and C's. audiostack.ai/contest.
Podcast, the place to catch up on all the regional and national rugby in Wales. You can find us on all the usual social media platforms and message us through there if you want, or you can email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. So all the boring stuff out the way, let's talk rugby.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Rap Podcast with me, the G. Joining me as always, full crew this week is James, Jamie and Harley. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Hello. How are we?
It's last week of the like full season for us on pod, so it feels quite nice in a weird way. Like it's been a long old season. It's been a really
very long season.
Isn't it?
Ospreys were in camp for 51 days. 51 days, 51 weeks.
I said they play like they were in camp for 51 days.
Fuck, you must have been half a week then. You were on annual leave.
Well, we did our first the first warm-up game was first week of August. So we
if not last week of July.
No, I can assure you, we definitely didn't record last week of July. That much I know. I was definitely not around for the last week of July. So, yeah, been a long old time. So, for the last time this season, then, gentlemen, let us start with some drink of the week. And James, you can kick us off in style. Something nice and strong to finish the season. Something delicate. Something interesting. What have you got for us?
Well, I'm finishing off a nice iced coffee, and I'm on the tea because I'm off the booze for a bit. Going into pre-season, back in the gym, sort of as work is winding up. So I'm trying to be off the booze for a bit. Well, within reason, but definitely in the weeks. I've had a long weekend. I was on another residential school trip this weekend, in and out of sailing and kayaking. So I'm too tired to drink right now.
Okay, you're forgiven. Jamie, what have you got to finish the season off with, mate?
So, have any of you seen Clarkson's Farm on Amazon?
Yes.
It's
very good show. So, I haven't seen a second of it. Why am I saying this? It's because the beer I've got is from that show, apparently. So, I've got Hawkston Pills.
Ooh.
Yeah, so like I said, this has been on Clarkson's Farm, apparently. There's a lot of wanky bollocks on the side of the bottle. I'm not going to read it all, but it says, with flavours of grapefruit, pine, and a bittersweet finish, our Pilsner is a light-bodied lager with real character, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end it says, hard to make, easy to drink. and it is a very easy drinking lager. It's quite nice, actually. So, yeah, that's my drink. Hawkstone Pills, as featured on Clarkson's Farm, if you're a fan of the show.
Did you say pine?
Yes.
As in, like, the
Yes,
furniture?
yes.
As in, like, the wardrobe?
With flavours
As
of
in that
grapefruit,
Christmassy scent.
pine, and bittersweet finish, yeah. That's what it says, pine.
Who goes around licking pine and going, this will taste good in a beer? That's bizarre. All right, Harley, all yours, mate.
Yeah, so this is the last from my Torycon stash of beers. So this is called Devon Dumpling. So yeah, it's called Strong Girl Now. It looks a bit like that. So lovely, nice, clear, no cloudy mess to upset me. The Wanky Box on that is a strong, smooth tasting premium beer with a balanced sweetness and fresh hop character, Devonshire through and through. I almost end up going Devonshire there, but yeah, might as well rein it in. Yeah, nice best bitter to finish the season on.
Cool. I will be doing like hang on, James is talking and hasn't realised he's on mute. Go on, mate.
You got it from that Tory beer festival. You're going to finish early, like most of the Tories. Or
well, I said it was a farm show, so we did leave quite early, but that's just because we have a small child and a wife who's scared of thunderstorms.
Okay, there's a diversion. Yeah, so I will be like clipping together all the best bits of Wanky Bollocks. We were going to do a best Wanky Bollocks nominations and awards and all that kind of stuff from the season, but in all honesty, it's been a long season and none of us can be asked. So I'm just going to clip together all the funky bits through the season. So I was delighted in my local supermarket on Saturday because they brought in all the summer ciders. I pretty much done all the beer that they had, and they brought in the summer ciders. So I now got a good stash of summer ciders and no reason to drink in the midweek because there's no pod. So the first one of my funky ones is a Cornish pineapple cider. It's called the Rattler. So genuinely crafted with refreshing pineapple and crisp apples, offering a perfect blend of sweet and tangy flavours. Transport yourself to a tropical paradise with every sip. It's quite nice. It doesn't taste of pineapple. It tastes quite refreshing as a cider. And I was allowed to put a couple of ice cubes in there tonight as well. I very nearly gave myself frostbite before coming on the pod because I couldn't get the ice cubes out of the tray. And they were stuck in too much, and I was trying to push them out too much, and then all my fingers started going numb. So I very nearly got frostbite in the middle of June, but it's a very nice beer, and yeah, cheers, lovely. Okay, news desk then, Jane. What have we got for news desk?
Yes, quite a bit of news, a lot of movement happening, a lot of signings. So started off, just before we started recording, Cardiff have finally announced their signing after putting up a really pointless poll asking their supporters, do they want a new signing or a re-signing, when it was pretty obvious everyone wanted a new signing. So anyway, they have confirmed the signing of former England under-20 centre Rory Jennings from Newcastle Falcons. The inside centre joins Cardiff after spending a year in the North East following the sad demise of London Irish. The Cardiff website says that he will provide strength in depth in the centre as well as cover at fly half. Sounds like Ben Thomas now, doesn't it? Maybe replacement for Ben Thomas, I don't know. Harley, what do you think of that then?
Yeah, I think as you said, it's probably going to be Ben Thomas's backup, that sort of 10-12 cover. Although I thought Beetham was that backup, but I mean, so, we're actually looking at 10 and 12, we're looking quite stocked this season with James, Ben Thomas, Beetham covering, and then you've got Sheedy and Cans in it as a right out 10s. So looking, yeah, I mean, it's an area we needed strengthening. I mean, it's not going to set the world on light, but I mean, let's be honest, that's the level of player. The fact that it's a top level rugby player as opposed to second division like Curry Cup or fourth division if you're a Wales coach, it's promising.
I text some snide comments about the signing to Hugh Griffin, as we both do whenever Cardiff make a signing, and he texts back saying, "Is his nickname Full Story Rory?"
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
One of those
is
is
about
enough.
the same height. It's only a little bit shorter.
Bungalow
We don't
Rory.
need two. We don't need two full story wars. Right, moving on then. Scarlet. So on Monday, very interesting day yesterday for the Scarlets, wasn't it? So on Monday, they announced the signing, as we all expected, of Wales tight head prop Henry Thomas, a week after he was recalled to the Wales squad by Warren Gatland. 32-year-old has swapped cast for Parker Scarlets, and he's going to join the West Australians ahead of the new season. But then, later in the day, the Scarlets announced that back rower Teddy Leatherbarrow has left the region. So the 24-year-old was signed from Loughborough University just a year ago. And to be fair, I think we can all agree playing some very impressive performances during his 14 appearances in the season. It was only last month that Teddy Leatherbarrow won the Bas Lewis Breakthrough Player of the Year award from the Scarlet Supporters Club. And he's leaving. And it's left a sour taste in a lot of Scarlet supporters' mouth. So they were quite happy after the announcement, of their prop, Henry Thomas. And then later in the day, bad news. It was good news, bad news day, wasn't it? Bad news. They announced this, and it boiled the piss out of a lot of Scarlet supporters. There's been all kinds of rumours about why he's left. We can't confirm or deny because it is rumours. But Leo, I want to get your thoughts on that. What do you make of Teddy Leatherbarrow leaving the Scarlets after what was an impressive first season? Because this has gone down like a bucket of sick with a lot of Scarlet supporters, hasn't it?
Yeah, and rightly so too. I mean, fuck, what does the guy have to do to get a contract? We've got a captain with the best will in the world, and we all love Josh McLeod. And when he's on form and when he's fit, he's great. But 3 games in 2 seasons or whatever it is, and then we've got a young kid coming through that shows a lot of potential. Shows to play at a 7 and to play the kind of rugby he does at 7. He's making an impact at 7, which is hard enough. You look how competitive 7 is in Wales. It just fucking pisses me off. It really does. I thought we were done with that. We made a big song and a dance in the middle of the season about how we going to change what we're going to do. We're going to develop from within. We've got some good players coming through, and Joe was really well received. There was a meeting at the club, and everyone was like, "Yeah, okay, this is how it's going to be." And you can live with that. You can go, we can live with maybe not being amazing for a couple of seasons if it's our plays, if it's our boys, if it's the boys from down the road that are being developed and being given a chance and coming through. And then, all right, Leatherbarrow came in from Loughborough, so we're not going to say he's an out and out Scarlets boy, but he came in and he was liked by the fans. He put his heart on every time he walked out, and it was great to see. And it was the kind of player that kind of fans grow to love really quickly, like Callum Mahoney. We can't really call Callum Mahoney local, but Christ, if that boy walked down Llanelli High Street, he gets mobbed by fans because people loved him because he gave everything, and Leatherbarrow was the same. So
he's also Welsh qualified.
Yeah,
so it's not like he was taking up a spot either.
No, exactly. But we've brought in fucking South Africans and some. I feel sorry for the guys.
A current Scottish international, for that cover in the Six Nations when he will also be away.
Yeah, but pisses me off that we don't get it. There's something inside. We spoke a lot at the start of the season about culture, and then I pissed myself off by talking about Scarlet's culture too much, and it isn't right. It isn't there. It's not. We haven't got it. It's just not up here. About this is how you look after your fans. This is how you get them to go, hey, do you know what? You can make mistakes, but we'll love you because you're doing it for the right reason. It just really does piss me off. But welcome, Henry. Hey.
I say it does ruin William James's game of trying to see how close to a full 8 Scarlets can field with they've developed no players.
Yeah, shit.
Your forward pack is dangerously. I think it's 2 players that off a non-Welsh qualified pack.
Yeah,
it was this season as well.
No, I think
it was one of this season, wasn't it? Was it
I think-
two?
I think at one point, I think when Elias got injured at one point, it was Ed and Schwart that it went up to 1, but they started with 6.
Yeah, I think we could genuinely put out a non-Welsh pack pretty much every week if we wanted to.
And the Fever, sorry to divulge, but the Fever Twitter account put up a thing last night of what's perceived to be your best pack, and that doesn't include Max Douglas. Who is that in our news desk? Because I don't think he was announced when we were on last week, were we?
Something was around then.
I can't remember.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
it's stark in there that there's in what is perceived to be the best Scarlets pack. There's no Welsh locks, no Welsh hooker. I'm not counting Elias.
Yeah, they put Elias. He did put Elias in as best hooker.
Though. Right.
Well,
okay. Not hooker. There's no. You got no Welsh loose heads, no Welsh 8, no Welsh lock. It's just. I don't know how it's got to this point with Scarlets.
It's because we had 5 years of fucking up the academy, and this year we turned around the academy. We've actually got some decent boys. We've got 2 props.
Mawson Pritchard.
Yeah, coming through the academy. We've had a couple of decent hookers come through the academy. We've got one decent second row come. And if I was that second row coming through the academy, I'd be like, fucking hell. Everybody just wants. You're not allowed anywhere. You don't let him pass his driving test. Don't let him go anywhere else. Just fucking lock him down, nail his shoes to the floor. But it's going to take time for it to come through. I said we've fucked up the academy for God knows how long, and it's costing us. And we're having to go out and bring in players that we should have been developing. We should have been looking after our own. We should have been getting the players that we had here and available and going, we're going to look after you and don't worry. And we've gone, yeah, you're not up to it, fuck off, son. And then they go somewhere else and start playing decent rugby. And we go, well, he obviously had a good start at the Scarlets. Go, no, a good start at the Scarlets, keep them at the fucking Scarlets.
Yeah.
You know, you were saying about people boiling piss. Yeah. Let's move on.
I think just to add though, I think Henry Thomas is a good signing. He is a good scrummager. He doesn't offer much in the loose, but he should stabilise the scrum. Yeah. My only thing is though, he's a Welsh international, so he's going to be part of Wales. You're not going to see him.
No.
You know how much a Scott's going to get out of him, and I think Welsh regions need to be very careful now with the reduced budgets about signing Welsh internationals, especially when they are part of Wales. You know, I don't think it's particularly good business.
Especially just to jump on your point there, Jamie. Especially when you consider who's your second choice tight head now. Harry O'Connor, who's also in the Wales
international
squad.
Harry O'Connor, yeah.
It's a bit like the issue we had for years when you had both Ken and Elias in at hooker, both scrum half. You had both scrum halves, both fly halves for this Six Nations. Piv Axton in the past, we picked like the first, all 3 Ospreys loose heads at one point in that weird summer series. I do think the regions maybe need to push back on. No, you can't take too many people from the same position because it's killing our depth.
Okay once it's Cardiff in the hot seat losing 9 players, is it? Oh, we have to push back on it now.
We just need to stop.
I said this all along that there's two.
We
spread them
we won you the bastard Six Nations, did we?
But Scarlets just
I
need
think
to.
it's like Martin Williams as player of the tournament.
But Scarlets need to stop signing people who were already in that position. So Plumtree, it was pretty obvious why Plumtree came over. Henry Thomas. There was somebody else as well, wasn't there? Oh, Johnny Williams signed because it was going to be, and then gets injured, and you're like, fucking hell. So I am still expecting Johnny Williams to leave.
I also just don't get it from the Henry Thomas is the first proper forward, like scrummaging forward you've signed. Because Max Douglas, he's great and he looks great on paper in terms of height, weight. He's dynamic, but he's not what you need in that sense. you were in for apparently very much in for Jack Dunn, right? And it seems like it became an either-or situation. You went with Douglas. It is what it seems, and it's just like, why? Jack Dunn would have been perfect for you. And it's great that you've kept hold of Craig. Don't get me wrong, but you need that like big, massive, tight head lock who's just going to be, like Steve Cummins has gone to the Dragons, right? I think it's a fantastic signing. I remembered it the other day. Big, tight head lock who's going to sit behind Henry Thomas and is just going to push. And he's going to hit rucks and he's going to do nothing else. But now you're going to have another forward who carries the ball in one hand. He's probably got his head wrapped up like that. Looks like an idiot. Right.
But that is the type of game we play. That is the type of game where I think like 80% of our tries this year came from turnovers or something stupid like that.
Or Gareth Davis remembering he's an international class scrum half.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's a style of play that we haven't. It's very difficult to find scrummaging props who can also pass a fucking ball or catch a ball. Some of them. So like I say, decent level prop who can. Anyway, James, go on. Otherwise, my piss is properly going to boil.
Okay. Scott Baldwin, he's left his role as defence coach at Newcastle Falcons to become the new head coach at Bridgend Ravens. That's good news. It's good to see Scott Baldwin back in Welsh Rugby, so best of luck to him in that new role. Chris Hollis has left the Dragons and he's returned home to South Africa after completing his short-term deal. I am a little bit surprised by this. I thought we were going to sign him permanently. I thought he showed enough flashes against Ospreys and Scarlets to warrant a permanent deal, and Di Flanagan spoke highly of him, said that he offers us something different. So I was a bit surprised to see him go back to South Africa. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if it's a budget reason or whether he didn't quite do enough to convince the Dragons to sign him permanently. I'm leaning more towards the budget, to be honest. But it's a bit of a shame. I like the look of him, and I hope he finds a club soon. And then another departure, Ospreys scrum half Cam Jones. He's joined Cornish Pirates next season. 23-year-old came through the Ospreys regional pathway, and he had spells with Edinburgh and Glasgow before returning to the Ospreys at the start of the season. He made 6 appearances off the bench for Toby Booth's side across the campaign. And then finally, another departure. The Highlanders have confirmed that Wales fly half Rhys Patchell has left the Super Rugby franchise after a season in New Zealand. So the 31-year-old joined last year on a 1-year deal after leaving the Scarlets. Now, there's no news on Patchell's next club as of yet, but Wales Online are reporting that a move to Japan is an option. So, it'd be pretty interesting to see where Rhys ends up. I'd love him to come to the Dragons, but in this same report, Wales Online are saying that Dragons are looking at a fly half in the Gallagher Premiership, which is interesting. So, that's the news.
Yeah, but
that's all the news I have for this week.
Looking at
Brett
one,
Conan.
looking at one could mean just going and sitting in the stands. We can all go. Can you genuinely see Dragons being in a position to pull someone from the Premiership, Jay?
Is it going to be Baby Lloyd? Is it Ewan Lloyd's little brother who's still playing for Bristol as a flyer?
No, he's at Newport.
He's
not at Bristol. He's been at Newport for the past year.
Yeah, he's been at He's
been at Newport, mate.
Yeah,
Parley.
He's been at Newport.
There you go.
Yeah. Was there Ospreys news? No, there isn't. And none that I can say anyway.
Cardiff have managed to announce their pre-season friendlies in the most Cardiff way possible in Seb Davis's disciplinary announcement.
That was quite interesting, actually. That was quite... Because they'd only said they would be pre-season friendlies and they didn't actually announce them. It wasn't and then these are the games he's going to miss.
Yeah, you're playing the Ospreys in Bath, aren't
you? Trailfinders, the other half of the Ospreys.
To be fair, we've gone a whole season without any real credible merger conversations. So, but let's not let that get in the way of a good rumor. Let's start a few over summer because it'll be quite good to be at the lead of that.
Can I very quickly talk about the poll I ran on Twitter?
Go on now.
So I ran a poll yesterday on the Ospreys Irie account, and it did quite well, actually. It was quite a big, far-reaching poll. So I said how all four Welsh teams all announced signings going to the 24-25 season. Obviously, the caveat being recruitment isn't seemingly finished for all four teams. But which team has the strongest squad entering next year's URC? So 9% voted the Dragons. And when we say it every year, the Dragons on paper do have a very good squad, or a squad that should be better than it is. 11% said the Scarlets. I assume that was Hugh tweet off all 12 of his accounts. 23% said Cardiff. And for me, Cardiff, I think Cardiff got a very, very good squad. I do. I think
You can't scourge, mate. You keep telling me this every week.
I mean, you can't.
Even when we're not playing, you're saying Oscar shit. I wake up in the first thing in the morning.
I think that you have a top 8 worthy squad. And then, no surprises here, but off an Ospreys poll, 57% said the Ospreys.
I'll be honest, I think if we ran any of the individual ones, or from the wrap, it would still come out as the Ospreys because they are clearly the
What was
strongest
the
squad.
purpose of this poll then, James? Because
it
was obvious Ospreys are going to come top second. The squads haven't been finalised yet.
But I said this
the
to
squads
you. I
haven't been
said this to
finalised.
Hugh, right? I said this to Hugh. I said this to Harley. I think I said it to Harley, or I just said it in the wrap chat. I think that with the signings that have been made, Scarlets and Cardiff, on paper, have got squads that could easily compete for that playoff position.
No, that's not what you said.
Yeah.
What you said
what I
was
said to Hugh as well.
Cardiff and Scarlet should have squads that should be better than the Ospreys because it's your classic Ospreys fan inferiority complex. You don't like being the favourites.
Exactly, we don't like being the favourites.
All your fans are the same.
We've signed a man called William Greatbanks, right? He's not a real person.
I'm sorry. You could not have convinced me that was a real person when that signing was announced.
But there's also a reply that happens to that poll, which is my favourite thing, and I actually screenshotted it. It said, Joshua Lawrence said, surprised Cardiff didn't come within 7 to win a losing bonus point from their road supporters. I just find it interesting in terms of what the Welsh public deem.
Right, shall we go? Shall we just go right? We'll just start off right. So we've got for the Ospreys, Gareth Thomas, first choice loose head. Dewi Lake arguably should be first choice hooker. Tom Both, who everyone says should be after starting tight head. You've got British and Irish Lion Adam Beard. You've got supposedly Rhys Davis, who, let's be honest, would be a shoe-in to start.
No, the Gatlin doesn't pick him.
And then for back row, do you want to go with Justin Tipuric, former British and Irish Lion, former Wales captain,
big nose
squad captain, Jack Morgan,
too short,
Lions captain in waiting. Everyone's calling him. You've got Harry Dees, who's just
loves
Morgan Morris. Oh, you've got James Ratty. Right, you've got James Fender behind that. It doesn't matter. That's still a fucking fantastic pack.
I think
right. Ruben Morgan Williams, arguably the best. It's probably going to be the best 9 in the thing. Dan Edwards, who is Dan Bigger reincarnate.
Too short.
You've got to accept you've got a fucking fantastic squad. You can't keep playing that when you're not
We're
good.
Awful.
Just because Gatling doesn't want to pick you. If anything, that's going to make your squad even better because you're not going to miss them.
Am I going to have to mute the pair of you? Honest to God, it's like listening to like 2 4-year-olds, boys.
It's like being on the Egg Chasers pod, fucking hell.
I know, it must be terrible being told your team's good.
Oh,
we're not, though. Media darlings piping out.
Anyway.
Okay, sorry, you can move on now.
James thinks Ospreys isn't very good. Harley thinks Ospreys are better than James thinks the Ospreys are. Let's move on.
I don't think it's a fact they're better than that.
Fuck, boys. Right, let's talk. Let's actually talk rugby. Ospreys Munster last weekend. Have you recovered to a stage where you can actually talk about the game yet, James? Or
there's not really I'm not gutted. I am, because it was a relatively close loss. It was a 13-point loss, which is a 13-point loss when you lose in the manner when we did at home earlier in the season. I get more angry about, because arguably we could have won that game earlier in the season if Owen Williams didn't decide to be monumentally awful, and Alex Cuthbert's hamstring doesn't go. Then you have a genuine chance of winning that. I never once, there was a 90% to 10% chance thought we could win. We would lose. I thought there's maybe a 10% chance where we turn them over. But it's Munster at home in a league quarterfinal. That is like they've won. They've got 45 from 50, I think, in their last points tally. Like the points they can accrue. There is no shame in losing to first place in the manner that we did. I think, to sort of borrow the Cardiff mentality of being the better losers than you are, in that sense of you go out in a very good defensive manner where you fronted up. You have boys who in the week had their personal team talks written for them in Kieran Williams and Morgan Morris, who in defence were fucking phenomenal. I watched the game. I haven't watched it back. I sort of was half watching it because I was on this trip as well, so I was dealing with the young people. So
the young people.
I don't
Most
like
thing
I
you've
don't
ever
like calling
said.
them kids, because they're not kids, because they're all teenagers. No, kids are baby goats. But it was I not at one point was I like depressed about the loss. I think I was just flat because it was over, and it was such an enjoyable season that even in that loss you were just like, fuck yeah, do you know what, this is why you stuck around this year. And I know we can make the joke that Ospreys only get 12 people and a dog at their games and all that, but there is a genuine core fan base at this club who have stuck through the, it's not a culmination because that journey's still going on, but where we were when Toby took over to where we are now is a fucking miracle, quite frankly. So in terms of the game, obviously it started badly. Zebo goes over, you're like, fuck, this could be a shoe-in year. And then we do score a genuinely lovely try. It's a lovely little slice over the top by Morgan Williams, who's done that quite a bit this year. They've tried that play a lot. It's never really come off. Good hands by Morgan Morris, good acceleration off the line. Lovely flick by Owen Watkin, and Giles gets over. But we swung for the fence and we missed. Toby in the media said it best. You've got to take your chances. Probably the big narrative coming out of this from an Ospreys fan point of view is Holly Davidson. I didn't think she had her best game. I won't lie, and this is an opinion that's shared amongst Welsh rugby fans, definitely, except Hugh Griffin. I like Holly as a ref. I just didn't think she had her best game. But you don't go to Munster and win the 50-50s. That's and I think Robbie said we probably didn't win the 60-40s either. And that's the margins of the game, unfortunately. You've got stupid penalties at the end. You've got bits of luck here and there, and that's it. That's knockout rugby. Do you know what? And we got there, and that's the main thing. Because it's a benchmark to go further next year, and that's what we have to do.
And a bit of extra cash. Let's not ignore the fact that you do get a little bit extra.
And there is that, and of course that would be welcome. But I think from our point of view, it's that a lot has been said about the targets the Ospreys set this year, and that was to win the Welsh Shield, or be the best Welsh region, however you want to say it, to qualify for the European knockouts and to qualify for the playoffs, and they did. Which, if you'd have said to Welsh Rugby at the start of the year that a team would do that in the state that we were in, you'd probably bitten their arm off for at least maybe one of them. Obviously, one of us is going to have to be top Welsh Shield. But if you ask for European knockouts or you ask for playoffs, so yeah, we obviously won't turn our nose up at the cash, but I think for this group, it's a benchmark more than anything. That you can compete against the best. A lot has been said in the week, and it's literally been quoted that Ospreys were looked at for 2 performances, and that was Bulls and Munster, where we took 60. And we can't hide from that. We did take 60, absolutely. But then we also went to Munster away and held them to 2 tries, forced them to kick. And Toby said in the post-match, that's a sign of respect. The fact that you're forcing them to take threes. And actually, a certain member of this podcast was quoted in that post-match interview with Toby Booth, and Mr. Jamie Phillips.
Hey?
Yeah, did you not? Oh, you don't know this, do you?
No, explain.
So, whoever was asking the questions, I didn't actually see, it might have been Johan Dyer or someone like that, said that online there are people saying that they'd run through brick walls for Mr. Toby Booth. I wonder who tweeted that out on Friday. I think it was Friday or Thursday. So
might have been me, yeah.
Mr. Jamie Phillips and his 12 million Twitter followers, causing a bit of stir in the rugby media again. Taking the limelight from the Cardiff Central podcast once again. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. It just... happy we got there. Obviously gutted to lose the game, but in the manner that we did, I'm not dwelling on it.
So for me, just looking at that game, you guys were attacking just before half-time, so 5 minutes before half-time, scrum deep in Munster 20, and you had them under pressure. You had them under pressure for a good 5-6 minutes, and then you popped their front row. Their front row was up.
Yeah.
And all right, it wasn't straight, but there wasn't a single scrum. Nobody.
There's
there
not
must
a single
be
scrum in the
something
universe
wonky.
that's straight.
But I mean, it was both sides were in. So you couldn't call one side more than the other. Both sides were going in. But you guys popped their front row. You're here. Their front row's there. They're standing up. And she called it for them. And I can't. I've looked back at it. I've watched it, and I don't understand how that call was made. Sometimes you can look at stuff and you can go, okay, they've seen this as a knock on, or they've seen so and so was offside or whatever, and that's what they've called. But I can't see how that gets given to Munster. And you look at Tipperick, and Tipperick was just. What the hell was that about? What's going on there? So
that's the swing, though. We get the penalty there.
Yeah, and you're in.
You score, and you score, and they said it in the post match as well. That changes not necessarily Ospreys team talk, but Munster's team talk at halftime.
Definitely,
because you go in there. What is it? It's 12-7 at that
12-7.
point. So that goes in for you. You go up there, 12 or 14.
12. Minimum. Even if you took the kick, you go in at 12-10.
You go in, 12-10. Yeah.
So I think that was massive. That was massive.
That swings and roundabouts. So that's hindsight is the most exact science in the world, right? And we can sit here and say that penalty kick changes the dynamic of the game. What would have changed the dynamic of the game is converting chances, taking points. We were unlucky I'm not saying unlucky to have Owen Williams, but Owen Williams in the context that he has a 48% goal kicking percentage this year. Owen Williams is great. And I didn't think he had a bad game, but we sorely missed out. To say Dan Edwards is the first choice is a mental thing to say, right? Because he came into the season not even being third choice. You had Williams, Walsh, Scully, then him. He was meant to be your apprentice player playing for the Whites. So the fact that he's gone in as your first choice, you don't have your first choice locks. You don't have things. They're not excuses. They're just contextual information. So, yeah, it probably does swing the momentum of the game, and you come out, then you get another penalty the other side of the half. You do go, but it's knockout rugby, and that's how it goes. And it's easy to sit here now and say, yeah, that would have swung the game, and they probably look. They and the coaches will have looked at that as well. The coaches would have said we should have won that. We also did some stupid stuff the line out, doing stupid moves, but that's rugby, And there are standout players there. I've highlighted Morgan Morris and Keith, who again were brilliant in defence. If we're going to talk about Morgan Morris in the context of he doesn't do enough work off the ball, whatever that is, right? He made 16 tackles, fourth most Osprey tackle count. He made 2 dominant hits. He was visible around. He basically essentially did everything that Gatland asked him. He really stepped up that game, I think. Do I think that warrants a Wales call-up? No. Gatland clearly doesn't want him, and he's got more to work on. Kieran, again, he missed 4 tackles. You can't get away from that. But in terms of his actual defence, he was excellent. And again, 2 dominant hits. Justin Tipperick, 34 years old, there's an argument to be made. He's still the best player in Welsh rugby or played regional rugby. He was immense, and he is immense and has been all year. And Ospreys are infinitely a better team when he's on the pitch. What do we think? What do we think about Tipperick as a player? Like right now, is it? Yeah, Ed James tweeted it out. He's got reach, right? And he doesn't. And for him to say that is mental, because that's complimenting someone from the Ospreys, and he'd rather have a hernia than do that.
He's class, isn't he? He's class. He's been brilliant. I thought he was excellent on Friday night again, and I think from the Ospreys' point of view, it's probably good he's retired from international rugby. Yeah. I think that's really benefited you guys. I thought Jack Morgan was really good as well.
Yeah, Jack Morgan was very good.
And Nicky Smith, I think he's going to be a big loss to you guys, because I do agree with what you and Lee are saying about Holly Davidson. Now, I like Holly Davidson. I think she's a good ref. I don't think she had her best game. There were some very questionable scrum decisions going on, shall we say. Nicky Smith won quite a few scrums, but he wasn't getting any reward for it. And I think that when he does leave the Ospreys, I think that's going to leave a big void, because he is a fantastic player, brilliant scrummager. Leicester Tigers are getting a really good guy there, aren't they? And it's a shame how it panned out. It's a shame. But in the second half, I think what frustrated me, I know we talk about Tipperick, but the second half frustrated me because Ospreys didn't really fire a shot. And on the first half, they scored a brilliant try, lovely pass from Owen Watkin. It was a good try, Keenan Jones. That's one of the tries of the season, I think. It was superb. And they had that period, didn't they, just before half-time. It was like 10 minutes, and Lee, you mentioned that scrum. They couldn't quite get over the line. The second half, Munster did a really good job of suffocating them. They could not get out to their own half. They were basically playing from their own half in that second half. And it was really frustrating. And I'm not an Ospreys fan. Obviously, I want them to win. But I found it really, really frustrating. And Munster were huffing and puffing. And it's a credit to the Ospreys' defence, how solid it was. That they were taking the points on offer, because that's what they had to do. I thought it was a really valiant effort for the Ospreys. But they didn't fire a shot in that second half. And I found that pretty disappointing, if I'm honest. But a brilliant effort.
Well, Munster had 17. They made the most dominant tackles of the round. They made 17 dominant tackles. They had 90. I think it was a 90% tackle completion rate, which obviously doesn't say much, but just says that they were able to contain the Ospreys. But that's what they do. And Toby said it. He said they win the aerial battle. They frustrate you. They keep you pinned in the half. And they've got a world. They are a world-class team, right? All right. They probably should have done better in Europe, but they are ERC champions for a reason.
And they might be again. There's a good chance they'll do it again. They've got Glasgow at home, and I wouldn't bet against them going back to back.
I wouldn't either. And Ospreys have a small back three. I think Nagy is getting better every game aerially. He's obviously nowhere near win it levels of sort of that specialty. His Nagy's specialty is more breaking the line, but we have a small back three, and that's been a consistent, and that's what Cuthbert was signed to alleviate, but never materialised. So there's what's refreshing from an Ospreys loss is that you look at that game and everything that went wrong or everything that seemingly didn't go right is coachable. And I sort of looking at it with my coaching hat on and a player's hat on. When a loss is coachable, that you can win it again. You can go into that season next year and say, right, we know how to beat Munster now. We know where there's space. We know where the chinks in the armour are. And of course, they're going to work on it. But that's sport. Dragons did it, start of last season? They it's not a loss in which I'm sat here devastated. So, yeah, brilliant.
Okay, so we'll do a little bit of a review of the season so far. The season club by club in a mo, but we just want to kind of talk through what we've got coming through the summer. So how many games have we actually got? We got South Africa first.
Yeah.
2 tests versus Australia.
And
then
Queensland
there's one
Reds.
against the Reds.
Yeah.
That's the one. Right. Okay, so we've got 4 games.
Yeah.
It was a Queensland, because I had 4 games in my head and I couldn't work out what the last one was. So it's the Reds. Right. Okay. So the plan is through summer to kind of do a little bit around those and then to sit back and do bugger all for a couple of weeks because it's been a long old track. And then we'll do some video stuff and we'll put some stuff together and all of that malarkey. But what is happening in the background through the summer is the SRC podcast is recording bonus podcasts with some of the new sides ready for the SRC launch, which they still haven't actually said when the launch will be. They haven't said when the media day will be, but it kicks off start of September. And hopefully we'll be back with the URC pod at the start of September as well as wrap. And we'll do some stuff around pre-seasons. So Harley, you've already alluded to the fact that you slipped a couple out. I think Dragons announced theirs, Jim, that you've seen.
I'm not sure yet. No, I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen any. Scarlet's announced one and then rumoured another couple. Ospreys, any, James?
Exeter away is the only one. So we probably will have one at the brewery field. We generally always do because it's readily available throughout the season. I tweeted before, I'd like to see it at St Helens this time. Similar to how they had it, but not just like from a selfish point of view, in that it can be done a la the Barbarians style setup they had last year. But yeah, we'll likely have a home one. We normally play like Hartbury or an English champ side to sort of get a full squad run out. So we'll see. Nothing's been announced.
Cool.
Sorry, just to add, Dragons have announced the fixture. Just remember they're playing Bristol at Clifton RFC.
That'd be a good one. Clifton's a lovely ground.
Yeah.
Cool. So we will be back on a couple of weeks before the start of the season and all of that with 4 of us. Not drop. Let's assume that 4 of us make it to the start of next season, and at some point the WRU don't go, fuck it, let's do 3 in the off season and just cock it all up for everyone. So there'll be plenty of stuff that is still around through the off season. So do stay in touch. And
I've got a pod during the off season. I have a one-off special.
Go on and tell us about your one-off special, and then I'll tell you about a request that we've had to do a one-off special. So you go do yours.
I will be doing, and I have it here. Give me one.
All right, so let's fill time whilst James goes on a wander. And
was he going around his house? What's he doing? Oh, hang on.
Right. So I will be doing a nice little retrospective on the 2013 Lions tour. It's sort of, we're going to Australia this year in terms of a Wales squad. And obviously the Lions are touring there next year. It's, for me, one of the least talked about, apart from the one moment, is one of the least talked about Lions tours. But is, for me, one of the most...
Two moments. I don't know which one was the moment you're thinking of.
Fucking hell.
It's the drop in the pod and there's the
They took the
backpack.
fucking Cardiff.
I can't let you finish a sentence,
He's so
mate.
pedantic, isn't he? He's so fucking pedantic.
Hell.
Well, he should stop spouting spurious non-facts.
I think you'll find there were 3 moments.
Yeah,
on that tour.
there were some moments.
Actually.
On this tour, right. So I will be assembling a group of whoever I can find to have a look at this. I'm currently going through the DVD and all the games. I bought all the games on Amazon for £4. And the Barbarians game is worth it alone. that Barbarians. But yeah, so I'll be doing a one-off sort of big pod special. Basically, essentially a big good player. Trying to cash in on the one good idea I've had this year.
That'll be fun.
Are you sure it's the one now? Because Harley might correct it to say that there were 2 good ideas that you had this year.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm doubting if it was as many as one.
You like good players.
Yeah, no, but it's Will Owen's idea.
It was Will Owens, but he didn't monetize it, so it's now my idea.
Well, the other request that we've had for a bonus pod is to do an imaginary region podcast with all the players that have departed from each region over the last couple of seasons to see if we can put through a decent side and how that side would get on against the current Welsh side sort of thing. So, I mean, obviously Teddy Leatherbarrow's going to be in there, but just some of the ridiculous people that we've let go. So Sanjay, Jonathan Davis. Jonathan Davis still hasn't announced a club for next year, which I find bizarre. But yeah, all the players that were released. So it would, and there's been a lot. To be fair, there's been a lot of players that have been released. But we might throw that one in there somewhere as well, and then depending on how the summer tour goes, because I seem to remember we did it last year. Because last year we was World Cup warm up last year, wasn't it? So yeah, that kind of got a little bit tasty. So anyway, who knows what will come? But Harley, you've got a couple as well. Scarlett's are working on a couple, but Jamie's gonna chill and work on his bikini body. Just get ready for next year. Good man. Okay, right. So let's have a little chat then about how the season went, from what you expected at the start of the season to where you ended up, high points, low points, all of that kind of stuff. We'll go bottom to top. Let's start with yourself then, Jamie. How did you feel Dragon season went, mate?
My review of the Dragon season was it's a pile of shit. The end. That's my review, Dad. That's all you need to know. Same old shit.
I didn't even have a chance to have a swig of beer, mate.
I mean, it was a familiar tale of disappointment and underachievement yet again, wasn't it? The stats speak for themselves. 4 wins in 22 games, 18 defeats. 15th in the league yet again. I think that's the 3rd time now in a row we finished bottom 2. Dragons have finished bottom of the Welsh pile 16 times now in 21 seasons. And I think there's a recognition now at the Dragons and in Welsh Rugby in general that it can't go on like this now. Something has to change because we're all getting fed up with it now. And that squad, look, I know it's not as strong as the other teams in the league. It's not as strong as the other regions, but they should have done better. With what they had at their disposal, they should have done better. We were largely competitive at home, but still no away win in the league since April 2022. That's not acceptable. That's embarrassing. And some of the performances on the road, especially, were pretty bad, quite dire, actually. So the South African tour, that was a disaster. The Sharks put 69 points on us, completely imploded. We all know about the Boxing Day derby. Dragons just didn't turn up. The players looked like they didn't want to be there. And it wouldn't have mattered who we played. We just so happened to play Cardiff. I believe any team in the league would have battered us that day. I think Seba would have battered us. The Dragons, the body language just didn't look right from the off. And you look at the other games away, Glasgow, we got pumped. Judgment Day again was a disappointment. So although there's a focus on home games, the Dragons really got to try and learn to be better on the road. It's difficult to win games away from home, I get that. And it's not a level playing field, the URC, but they've got to be stronger and better, more disciplined away from home. And also as well, there were too many games in the season where Dragons lost it in the last 15 minutes. I think 6 games we were winning in the last quarter. We only won 3 of them. You know, the Stormers and Connacht were prime examples where we were winning after 65 minutes and then it was a yellow card or a red card and we completely implode. So not sure what that points to. Is that a fitness issue? Is it a mentality issue? Could be both, I don't know. But the Dragons got to learn to put in an 80-minute performance. You know, 65 minutes. You know, that's not enough, unfortunately. If it was, we'd be in the top half of the table. But it's not. So, yeah, that wasn't good enough. And look, it was a dire season. You know, yet another disappointing season. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I did think that we would be a little bit more competitive with the budgets coming down and we'd, you know, narrow the gap between the other teams. It didn't happen. You know, I think the Scarlets team is one of the worst Scarlets teams that I can remember, and yet they finished 11 points above us. And that's really disappointing. That's a missed opportunity for the Dragons to try and not finish bottom of the wash pile. And I think next season will be the defining one for Di Flanagan because this will be his 3rd season. This will be his squad now. He's brought in the coaches that he wants to bring in. And, you know, we have to be fair to Di Flanagan because you've got to remember when he came to the Dragons, you know, he's young and inexperienced. He done a good job, didn't he, coaching the Scarlets as an assistant. But you have to remember, he lost his director of rugby, so he's thrown into that job. He wasn't expected to be, you know, chucked in that position, but he was after the Dean Ryan debacle. Then he lost his recruitment, you know, his head of recruitment, Rob Burgess, he went to Bath, and then he lost his defence coach. So he's had to multitask and cover a lot of roles, and I think that's really unfair on a young, inexperienced head coach, and I do feel for him in that regard. You know, so it hasn't been an easy start for him at the Dragons, but next season, he's got to deliver results because I think the recruitment has been decent. Off the field, it's looking encouraging. You know, we've brought in Rhys Blumberg, CEO, Ryan Chambers from the WRU. We've got 3 owners who are committed and investing, and they're desperate to, you know, have more success. And it's really good. They got a lot of ambition. Everything is in the right direction off the field, but I think we've got to start seeing it on the field because the excuses are running out now. Years ago, we could say as Dragons fans, yeah, we're the worst. We know we're shit, but we got the lowest budget. We used to wear that badge, you know, we're the lowest funded. We got the lowest budget. We can't say that anymore because we are all on the same budget. So Di Flanagan now has got to start getting results. And I like Di Flanagan a lot. I want him to do well. He's a young Welsh coach. I really want him to do well. For all the coaches we've had in the past 10 years or so, I really want Di to succeed. But if he doesn't get off to a good start, and we carry on this trend of losing week in, week out, then I think he could be in trouble because I know, having spoken to a few Dragon supporters, they are starting to get a little fed up now and patience is running thin. So the only way is up for us. We got to improve. You know, like I said, we can't go on being the run to the litter every season because it's getting incredibly boring. We need to kick on. You know, with the uncertainty in Welsh rugby, you're just making it easy for people to say, yeah, Dragons got to be cut. They're the ones that should go. You know, you got to change the narrative. And something that Toby Booth spoke about, one of the things he said was he wanted to earn respect. He wanted his Ospreys team to earn respect, and they've certainly done that. But that's what the Dragons need to do now. They need to earn respect. They need to start winning games, change the narrative, change the record, end the cycle, or break the cycle, as Di Flanagan likes to say. So, yeah, the only way is up. I'm hopeful for next season, but then I'm hopeful every season. So, you know, it's it's been another familiar tale of woe, disappointment, and same old. But fingers crossed for next season, I guess.
Okay. but off the field, a fair bit better than on the field. There's been a lot of positives. So,
but they've made good appointments, haven't they? You
Yeah.
know, like I said, the new owners, Reece Blumberger, CEO, Brian Chambers, though they got Theo Tia. Hopefully, he'll make a difference. I am a bit concerned that some Dragon supporters are putting a little bit too much faith in Tia. Like, he will make a difference, but we should remember this guy hasn't got a magic wand. You cannot expect him to come in to a team, to an environment that's used to losing, used to mediocrity, and just wave a magic wand and make it go away. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
But he should, at the very least, install some steel in the team, and they should look up to him and respect him. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Cool.
I've got a cracking hospitality box as well, as Jamie keeps pointing out in the group chat.
The hospitality is well worth having. The Carvery dinner is very nice. Honestly, best beef dinner I've ever had at Rodney Parade in the lounge. Lovely.
So we'll move a couple of places up the league, and we'll look at the Scarlets. So, overwhelmingly disappointment. It just, there were bits in that season where we looked really, really good, but they were like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and we couldn't actually string an 80-minute performance together until Easter. Easter's where we started. And it's very familiar because it happened last year as well. Last year it turned it at Christmas and we had a really good run and things started working, and then you go, bump, right, well, too little, too late. And it felt a little bit like that again this season, that it was too little, too late. We did start actually playing some decent rugby at the end of the year, but it just felt annoying that we've got that many quality players there, but we can't actually do anything with them, And I think a lot of that is off the pitch, and that's not Dwayne Peel. I think that's a lot of people around the club as well. Whether the internal change runs make any difference to the start of next season, we'll have to wait and see. But we desperately need a good start to next season, because if we don't have a good start to next season, and we couldn't start the way we started this year with 2 absolute wallopings down in South Africa. I mean, by the time we came back from South Africa, it felt like we were halfway through the season. It was torrid. If we start next season that way, then I'm pretty much in the same kind of place as you, Jim. I do think that maybe Dwayne Peel might not survive that much longer. It just, I've been there, I've coached, I've played, I've refereed, I've run the club. None of them are easy positions to be in. And when your team isn't performing the way you want, when it's really, really difficult to turn that round, and you've got to find something. You've got to find a way. And we found a way at the end of last season, and then we turned it around at the end of this season, but we don't seem to maintain it in the off season and then start again in the same place. We just lose that competitiveness. We've lost a little bit of edge up front, and we got some amazing backs. So some of the backs that we got fantastic, but they can't do anything if they're going backwards from the start. So there's just so frustrated, just like literally, genuinely, just throwing stuff at the wall, slippers, not glass, but that just kind of to get the frustrated out, because it is just, it pisses you off. It really pisses you off every week. You're seeing that every week, and you're going, we're not improving, we're not learning, we haven't tightened up our defence around.
Welcome to my world when I watch the Dragons. Yeah.
You've had your time. But no, we're both in that similar place where actually we should be playing a lot better, and fingers crossed next year is we do turn it. We've still got a lot of very, very loyal supporters. There are a couple of bell ends that just will tweet anything if they think they can get 20 likes on it or whatever. But there's a lot of people in that club that care about the club, that care about the players, that care about how we go forward. And I just hope those are the ones that start shouting a bit more than the dickheads. But yeah, I say just a frustrating season. Really, really frustrating. Finished well. Just so many games we go, we could have won that, we should have won that, could have done better there, should have done better, and then games where we just didn't fucking compete, and they're the worst ones, where you just got boys on the pitch that just don't look like they're competing, and you're going, what's the point? What's the point in being there if you're going to be like that? You know, give somebody else a chance. So, yeah, you know, we tried to maintain positivity, and we tried to be upbeat all through the season, and we did. You know, there were some bits here where people were having a go at us for, you know, why aren't you slagging this player off, and why aren't you slagging that player off? Because what benefit is it going to do? So, you know, there's a lot of potential there in the Scarlets, a lot of potential, and potential to play exciting rugby. And I think that's the difference. Is you want to play exciting and interesting rugby, but you've got to do the basics first, and we just weren't doing the basics. So, you know, I'm hoping for a strong off season, so we come back at the start of next season and actually do some decent damage. Because yeah, if we don't, it's going to be hard to have a third season of Dwayne Peel and not achieving anything. So I hope for his sake, Dwayne Peel is actually a really nice guy. He's come across really well when he's done supporters stuff. I would love to see him in front of the media more often. I would love to see him talking to fans more often, because he's passionate about the club. He's passionate about what he does. He really wants to turn the club into something big like it used to be. So I would love to see him being given that chance to just come and talk to supporters and go, do you know what, the guys, this is what we want to do, and this is how we want to do it. But I suspect that there are other things going on behind the scenes that are restricting, shall we say, the enjoyment of coaching the club. So I'm going to shut up now. I'll get myself in trouble, won't I? Anyway, frustrated, really frustrated is where we are. Harley, let's go up another couple of rungs. Not too many, not as many as you thought, but let's go up a couple of rungs. And Cardiff, how was Cardiff season?
Well, talking about being frustrated about games you feel like you could have or should have won. We start off the season in control against Benetton, and then stupid red card, lost the game, stayed within 7, and that basically set the tone. And effectively is how we finished the season as well. It's just lots of I'd say we were competitive in almost every single game, apart from probably Toulouse. And let's be fair, how many teams this season have been competitive against Toulouse, really? I mean, off field's been great after Peter Thomas's death last year, and with the help of capital takeover, that's great. Yeah, boring James is all the good news now, and investors are actually vocal and visible.
Oh, shut up! Talk about your own team, will you?
Yes. It's been nice to have some good breakthrough players. Some bargain basement signings have come through really well for us. And I've mentioned already, Cans, Titus DeBeer has been excellent. I thought Ben Donnell, when he sort of broke his way into the team, the second half of the season's been excellent. I mean, 4 wins just doesn't feel like enough. And I don't know what it is because even whilst we played Scarlets whilst they were at their worst, and we still lost to them, and I still no idea why. And even Hugh and other Scarlets fans have said we should have lost at least one of those games. But anyway, Leo disagree. But he forgets your team are fucking bobbins. And I have to say, I for one am hoping you get 2 big 40-point drubbins in the first 4 rounds of the next season, preferably rounds 2 and 4. Won't happen, but it'd be nice.
That's charming.
That you don't want to know what I want. I want to happen on Boxing Day, James.
Oh, don't go there, please.
He started it already, mate. He said we're finishing off one season, and he's already trying to get some digs in for the first couple of rounds for the next season and Christmas, for crying out loud.
Absolutely,
Wow.
come up swinging. I said the shit I get on the chat, right? You guys are getting all on the pod. Yeah, I mean, James already pointed out, we had like three, we had less people than support the Ospreys at training. Everyone's expectations were rock bottom. A couple of people predicting Cardiff to finish at the bottom of the pile, or thereabouts. So actually, to stay competitive against a lot of the top teams is great. We've kept our unbeaten run against the Sharks and the Dragons, so it's that. So the Sharks beating the Dragons or the Sharks isn't much to shout home about at the moment, given the seasons they've had. It was always going to be shit. Next season, Jockey says probably going to be worse, but it'd be nice to see if we can at least double the number of wins. We'll be playing in our favourite competition, the Challenge Cup, so there's a chance that something might happen there.
Is that a positive finish to it, Ollie?
That's my positive finish.
That's your positive
At least
finish.
we're back where we belong in the Challenge Cup.
Okay, so let's crank up one or two extras and into the top half of the table. So James, Ospreys on
Go to the dizzying heights of 8.
We are not worthy.
Yeah. So I just reading an old Ospreys program. Just anything's better than listening to the prideful bunch. Right, so I've actually done some like a report card very quickly. That is, I've probably forgotten a load of things. But so I've given us an overall grade of B-. The high point for the season, I've gone either Ulster at home, because I don't think I'll ever experience euphoria like it again, or Stormers away.
You've had a child this year.
No. Dan Edwards drop goal or child.
Your partner doesn't listen to this, does she?
Oh, she does. Or Stormers away. Low point was Dragons away. The Dragons away game was a very, very good day for me. Like I had I won man of the match at my game. It was a great social on in the club, and then there was me sat in the corner watching this Ospreys Dragons game on my phone with essentially a single tear running down my cheek because of this turgid shit I was watching. Best player, Morgan Morris. Most underrated player, James Ratty. Try of the year, penalty try versus Morgan Morse versus Cardiff. The moment of the year, however, is Harry Deeves' interview after the Sale game. It is the best thing. I just love playing on grass. Like that, I've never seen a better interview in rugby before or since. You can keep your Alex Good in his full kit on the piss after winning the Prem. You can keep your Joe Marler horse interview. I want Harry Deeves talking about Bridgend College and playing on grass. But in all seriousness, it is a good season. We finished in the playoffs. We won 14 out of 25 games? Something like that.
21, 25. I know they mentioned it on Scrum 5 today.
Yeah, so it's 10 in the league, 4 in Europe. Yeah, so 40, about that number. With a really just solid platform all year. Good forward pack. The back, although it doesn't look it, the back play and interplay has got a lot better than where it was. And unearthed a really solid group of youngsters who have been given ample opportunity. Advanced, probably acceleration of the careers of Dan Edwards, Morgan Morse, who probably shouldn't be playing the amount of rugby they are. Dan Edwards, you could argue. Morgan Morse, has played a lot of rugby for under 20s. Has taken his chances really well. But looking sort of down that, you've got Derwin's son. He's played all his rugby off the bench, but then has sort of grinded it out, cut his teeth at this level, gone to South Africa with the Cheetahs. Cam Jones has done the same. Tristan Davis has looked good. So while I don't think we probably have the best crop of youngsters in terms of squads, in terms of individuals, we have two very good ones in Morse and Edwards. I do believe we have a really solid group that is very much in the Toby Booth mould of wanting to have not two standout players, but actually 4 or 5 really, really just solid 6.5 out of 10 players all the time. I think the big thing for me, though, is coming back to culture, is you can see just how close-knit this squad are. And it just gives you an extra, it almost counts for like an extra 5 or 10 points in a game. Because when you have a squad that's so together, when you have a squad that wants to pull on the jersey, that believes in what is happening, believes what the goals are, that does, that buzzwords are thrown around in that find a way, in that time in the saddle, whatever the boothy bullshit you want to call it, right? Ted Lasso, as Gav says, it works.
It does.
It does, and it not only gets your fans on side, it gets new fans in, it gets fans of other regions on side, and the media love it. And then all of a sudden you build this narrative of you are a very close team. For all we know, right? Morgan Morris and Ruben Morgan-Williams could fucking hate each other, right? They could be swearing at each other, throwing bottles across the changing room. But as far as everyone else is concerned, they are best friends, because that's how the Ospreys portray themselves, and it shows on the pitch as well. Looking at, we did the double over the Scarlets this year for the first time in fuck knows how long, right? How much it meant to them players, but the younger players, the players who grew up watching Ospreys versus Scarlets in the stands, like a Sam Parry, who was an Ospreys fan in the Scarlets region, a Keelan Giles, who was going to the games, like Morgan Morse, up until very recently, had a season ticket in the East Stand, very close to where I used to sit. Rodri Lewis obviously hasn't had his opportunities, but he was a season ticket holder. So you're starting to see that now of these young talents who are fans, and you'll get that at all the regions as well. You will have boys at the Dragons who were fans of the Dragons. You will have Clessley players who lived in Pontcanna who went to go watch Scarlets. You will have Cardiff players who will have sat in the South Stand, will have sat in the North Stand, right? And that's what will drive it forward. We just happen to be a bit further on that journey than everyone else. So, really, I couldn't be happy with the season in terms of where I thought we were going to be. I thought we were going to do a lot worse than we were. But I couldn't be happy. I couldn't be prouder. As a fan, I just feel good going into pre-season, and I haven't felt good going into a pre-season in a while. Normally, I'm just filled with existential dread, which will totally happen by about mid-July, when I see that Jack Morgan and Dewi Lake are in some sort of like Australian prison, and Sam Parry's had like syphilis or TB and he can't play anymore. That'll be our luck. So really happy, but that happiness will turn to dread by about like American Independence Day.
I got to say, of all the season predictions that you could have come up with, James, that's some of the most bizarre season starting predictions that you could have possibly got, mate.
It's worth a tenner.
Right. Okay. So we are going to start to wrap it up, guys. So yeah, let's just I'm going to hand it over to you guys for a couple of minutes just to talk about how you've enjoyed the season doing this. So James, your first season with us. Harley, your first season with us. Jamie is a seasoned professional on his second season on Rap. So yeah, who wants to go first? Harley, you can go first. Give us your first season on Rap and with Cardiff Central and all of that sort of stuff, mate.
It's been, interesting. Up until now, I've only ever done bit parts and pods, and so being a regular one's been quite exciting. I won the prediction league, but I'm sticking with that. At least Cardiff have won something. James is upset because he's really shit at predictions. Yeah, it's been great. I was initially planning to go onto the Central podcast, but I've been really enjoying working with Carwyn and Dan since he's joined. Managed to interview some great guests like Jockey, Francisco Isaac, who somehow has decided to become a Cardiff fan. Poor man. So he's been on there. Andrew Ford, who someone I've always loved watching his YouTube videos even before I started doing Twittering stuff. So that's been great. Some more close links with CF10, Gruff Reese. It's been great. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this pod. I've enjoyed being wound up and winding up James.
Difficult. Not
I'd
difficult.
What, to wind you up or for me to be wound up?
Oh, both, if I'm honest.
I've probably ended up drinking more different beers in a year than I normally do, so that's been quite fun as well. Actually trying to find something different and not just going to my old faithfuls. Yeah, I said, do one of the J's want to join in?
Jamie, do you want to go first or shall I?
You can go if you want. Yeah.
Yeah. So I joined Rap, and I sort of joined the Irie. Sort of took it upon myself to be the sole or to be the lead on the Irie. Sort of run the socials, try and be the liaison with the fans, and I can't stress how much that it has stressed me out for these fucking 9 months. But also how much it's just sort of changed my life in a way that it has allowed me to interact with so many cool rugby fans, so many journalists, with my heroes essentially in the Ospreys and the sort of the people around it. Me and Yeston have known each other for a few years now. Both sort of being in the East Stand, drinking in the Riverside, being from one village over. Obviously he's a bit younger than me. But then getting Robbie on board, who I don't think people realise this. Robbie reached out to us. We didn't reach out to Robbie. Robbie wanted to come on because Robbie is a fan first and foremost. And it's been so great having him involved, having him as developed as a friend. So the three of us, are really close off the pod as well. And in terms of the Rap, it's been, don't get me wrong, you fuckers piss me off to the maximum. Not Jamie though; he's nice and balanced.
As always.
But yeah, it's been a great year. It's been a long year. My life from when I moved down to the south of England in September to where it is now is drastically different. I'm a father. I work in completely different capacity than what I did. I host 2 podcasts. I run 2 social media accounts. My life couldn't be any more different to what it was. And would I change it? Absolutely. This tires me out so much. But no, in all seriousness, it's been a great year. Really culminated by Judgment Day, actually, sort of meeting Jamie, meeting Gav, meeting Hugh, and the people who listen to the pod. So, thank you. We're not quite done yet. And here's to a great 24-25.
Cool. Fantastic.
Good
Jamie,
stuff.
go on. The floor is yours, Jamie.
Yeah, just to say it's been another enjoyable season on Wrap. I think we got a really good team now. I think we got good chemistry, good balance. I think James has been a really good addition with the Ospreys and Ali as well. We've had a laugh, haven't we? And it has been a tough season for most of us, not all of us, obviously, if you're an Ospreys fan, but we are talking a lot more about losses and it's been difficult, but we've had a laugh, haven't we? We don't take the game seriously. We've had good chats, good banter. We have different beers every week and it's good. Just to echo what James said there, one of the reasons I really enjoy this as well is because you do get to meet new people, and at Judgment Day, we spoke about this before, it was really strange. People coming up to you going, "Oh, you're from Rap. You're Jamie from Rap. You're James from Rap." There was quite a few people in the CCS that came up to me and James and recognised us from Rap, and it's nice. I felt a little bit uncomfortable because I'm not used to that, do you know what I mean? But it was nice. It was really, really nice, and I appreciate that. So, although it has been another tough season in Welsh rugby, it's been enjoyable. And like I said, we do have a laugh, don't we? We don't take it seriously. So I've enjoyed it. As for Dragon's Lair, I had zero intention to do a Dragon's pod, as you know, Lee. You kept asking me. I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Do you know anyone who do a Dragon's pod? No, stop asking me. I've got no interest because I found it a struggle talking about Dragons losing every week on year. And I thought, I do not want to do another pod talking about the Dragons there. And then Gavin got in touch. Gavin Toss, my co-host. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have done it. But he got in touch and said, "Look, do you want to do it?" I said, "Okay, let's give it a go." And do you know what? It's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. Yes, it's been frustrating because we end up repeating the same thing. About the mistakes, the errors. We got a drinking game going on now. Gavin constantly talks about lack of leadership. I talk about lack of grit and errors, and we end up having to take a drink. So we've had a bit of fun with it. But we have had some amazing guests on our pod, like seriously amazing guests. And I'm not saying this to brag, but I do think we've had the best guests out of all the pods. So there's too many to name, but these are the people we've had joining us. So we've had Reinhard Landman joining us, James Benjamin, current player of the Dragons, Adam Hughes, Colin Jarvis, David Buttress. Fair play to Buttress, right? It wasn't long after that Cardiff debacle. We didn't ask him. A fan got in touch and said, "You need to get him on your pod to explain himself." David Buttress replied, "I'll do it. I'm happy to do that." He didn't have to do that. How many chairmen of the other regions would have done that? Don't think there'd be many, would there? Maybe Lance though, yeah, but not everyone would have done it. That's the point I'm making, yeah. So he didn't have to do it, but he did, and we asked him some difficult questions. Our listeners asked him some tough questions as well. He didn't shy away from any of them. And as you know, Lee was our most listened to pod, wasn't it? It was a very popular pod. Got quoted in Wales Online, South Wales Argus, etc. So that was good for us. Ian Goff as well was a really good guest. Jamie Ringer.
That was
and the legend. Episode. Yeah, it was really good guest. I didn't know what to expect from Jamie Ringer, but he was really good. Brock Harris, the legend that is Brock Harris, live from the Stormers Team Hotel. One of the nicest guys I've ever met, ever spoken to, and yeah, a Dragons legend. I love talking to proper nice guys. So we've been very fortunate to have some amazing guests. Like I said, they've been others as well. Sam Lana, Rhiannon Garth Jones, Tom Coleman, and there's too many to mention. But it's been tough talking about losses week in, week out. And next season, I like to talk about more wins. But you know what? It's been a laugh. It's been enjoyable. Again, me and Gav, we don't take it seriously. We just it's like therapy for us. It really is. So, I've enjoyed it. Roll on next season where hopefully I get to talk about a couple more wins.
Cool. It's like therapy. I know what you mean. I genuinely do. For me and Scarlets, it was, a really bizarre end to last season and start to this season. When we talk about how much this means to people and what it means to sit in my son's bedroom every Monday night and talk to 3 people who I never met before and all of that kind of stuff about rugby. It's actually got me through the year. It's got me from. If anybody saw the photos of me end of last July, start of August, to where I am now. It's stuff like this that we don't really appreciate and until you absolutely need it. The rugby fellowship, the rugby family, the fact that you can sit there and argue till you're blue in the face with somebody, and then you turn around, you go, "Do you want a beer?" "Oh yeah, go on then." "Yeah, go get a beer." So yeah, I mean, I've loved it. I love drink of the week. I love the fact that I start on Monday night and I go, no, not taking anybody anywhere because I'm having a beer, and it's a handy little excuse, and I love it. So yeah, and I said, for me, it's a big thank you to firstly to you 3 for turning up every week, for smiling, for doing your best, and we all have shit times of the year, and we've all just got to kind of step out and go, do you know what, it's not for me this week, but we all come back, and it's really nice to see that 3 people that never met before that are now called friends. So from that, for me, it's a big thank you to you guys, because this was my idea, and it's grown and grown and grown, and now it's getting a bit massive, but it's really nice to just sit there and talk bollocks about rugby. Do you remember the first review we ever had, Jay? The very first review in season 1, where somebody tweeted us and said, it's like listening to 4 arseholes talk bollocks about rugby in a pub, and I love it. And that review was kind of stuck with me for a while. We weren't sure how to take that first review, were we? It was a bit strange to start with, but yeah. So and Scarlet's Fever pod, yeah. When you talk about the biggest pod, your interview with David Buttress isn't actually the most listened to pod. The most listened to pod is Big M, Martin's interview with Newcastle Emlyn. It went absolutely mental. I think everyone that went to every Newcastle Emlyn supporter must have listened to it about 5 times, because it just went crazy. He got invited down for the day. He had hospitality, where they had the hospitality day and all of that kind of stuff.
Bloody freeloader. He's like James now, freeloading, isn't he? Hospitality. Who does that?
I never got hospitality though, I'll say that.
Well, I think the people were taking selfies with him and all sorts of stuff. It was just brilliant, and it's stuff like that that really restores your faith in it. So, Big M Martin was the first guy on board. The first 2 episodes of Scarlet's Fever, or the Scarlet Supporters podcast, as it was back then, was literally me talking to a screen, which was really bizarre. So, Martin has been new with me from the start, and Martin now, obviously, I've left Scarlet's Fever. Martin, Hugh, and Carwin. Carwin's been great here. He's a really nice guy. To have those 3 on board are really, really good. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's a big thank you to everyone. All of the guys who've helped out with your pods, with Rap, and all of the ones who are coming in the future that are like, can I come on your pod? And you're like, well, you want to come on the pod? We don't have to beg people to come on the pod now. I go, can I come on your pod? Can I have a chat? And all this kind of stuff. It's really encouraging. And like you said, Jamie, it's a little bit disconcerting. It's like, are you taking the piss, or are you winding me up? So yeah, it's been a blast of a second season. Third season is looking awesome. It's looking fantastic, and I'm already looking forward to it. And that's pretty much us done, gents. That's us done for the year. What I will say about this season is that WRU didn't fuck up as much as they did last year, which and seeing as the season is officially over in Wales. I think we can say that the WRU didn't fuck up as much as it did last year. So things are going in the right direction.
There's more to come. Don't forget, there's a review coming. There's a review coming this month. So hold your horses now, Lee. It's always time for WRU fuck up.
That's the end of this season. Now that's next season. That's the start.
Are you thinking the Barbaros game on a derby day?
I mean, the scope for the WRU fucking up is massive. But for this season is now officially ended as far as we're concerned, done and dusted, and we move on. So the final people to thank are the listeners, and genuinely, we every week when we started doing this, 2 years ago, I think our first podcast had about 14 listens, something like that, 14 downloads, and 3 of them were me to make sure that the bloody thing was working. So, to go from there to where we are now has just been fantastic, and we get loads of interaction from people. We get loads of comments. We don't get many negative comments anymore, and the comments that we get are largely constructive, and can you do this and can you do that and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you to everyone that tunes in, that switches on, that downloads us every week and interacts with us on social media. We genuinely wouldn't do it if nobody was listening. We wouldn't do it if people weren't interested in what we say. So the fact that people are having a chat and enjoying what we do just makes it really, really enjoyable. So yeah, I will end this season's podcast by a massive thank you to everyone that's listened. Please keep doing what you do. Tell your friends, tell your mates, tell your family, put it on loud, put it on proud, because it's been a blast. We will be back for season 3. And on that note, gents, enjoy your rugby. Have a good one. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for the summer season. All the best.
I know.
That's done.
Thank you for listening to the Wrap Podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed recording it. Please do rate us and tell your friends, as it really helps us to grow and get better. We'll be back next week with more of the same, and until then, enjoy your rugby.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
We are audiostack.ai.
Combining AI writing, the best synthetic voices,
with production and delivery.
Be it ads, podcasts, or VOs for video.
Just like this ad.
How would you utilize AI audio? For free.
Go to audiostack.ai/contest.
Give us just a few details.
And you could replace this spot and be heard by millions.
See webpage for T's and C's. audiostack.ai/contest.